So the Banjitar restoration is pretty much finished up. A little bit more work to do on it. I've got it tuned up now. Um, I think those strings, though, are just going to have to do some stretching and settling, honestly. I put them on the other night, Wednesday night, and I don't know. I'm not real happy. Maybe I should have gotten a heavier gauge string. Maybe I should have gotten a lighter gauge. I'm not real sure at this point. Um, I think, though, like I said, a lot of it will have to be they're just going to have to stretch and settle. But anyway, so I'll let you kind of hear it a little bit. Um, yeah, it's not really holding much right now as far as the tuning goes, and it could also be these tuning pegs. They are cheap tuning pegs. That's a G chord there. Um, my tuner's going to tell me that's a C chord. I mean, I don't know. We'll keep playing around with her. Maybe I'll end up throwing some different tuners on it later. A little bit better tuners that that maybe I can actually, um, and no, I might even put some longer tuning pegs on it as well because I think part of it is just being able to wrap these tuners around the tuning shaft. I really just don't think these tuners are holding well at all because these are Martin strings. Um, so I mean, I should, yeah, catastrophe. Not really. More like shenanigans. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we'll keep going with it. Just kind of see where we end up. Meanwhile, let me talk a little bit about strings, right? Because I said I got those Martins the other day, right? And so in one of my other videos, I've made mention that there's really no such thing as cigar box guitar specific strings, but there are instrument specific strings. For instance, and I don't know where they are at the moment, but let me just look and see if I can quickly glance and find them. Um, but around here somewhere, right here they go. I do have a set of strings for a mandolin, right? So, so what you're gonna find, like if you get on Amazon, eBay, some of those, well, really Amazon, but if you or Guitar Center or Music Go Round or whatever, and you start looking at strings, right? Um, there are strings designed specifically for mandolins. There are strings designed specifically for banjos, for violins, for guitars. Then you start getting into your more exotic instruments like quattros and some of those others, right? Bajo sextos, bajo quintos, and you'll see, like I said, specific strings designed for those instruments. Um, Really though, for like cigar box guitar strings, find you some guitar strings, right? MGB and um, the other guy, CB Giddy, they both sell cigar box guitar strings. Now, they're just regular guitar strings. When it comes to strings for guitars, and that's kind of where I want to zero in. Um, so you'll find really three basic varieties, right? You'll find nylon strings for your classical guitars. Now, when I say nylon strings, I'm not talking about nylon like you find in spandex or lady stockings or whatever. I'm not talking about cloth. I'm talking more like a plastic type of material. Um, Usually your higher pitched strings. So your your high E, your B, oftentimes your G, and occasionally your D will be just a plain piece of plastic, right? Kind of like a fishing line, actually. And then your A and your low E will often be wound um, with like this almost like a wire winding. So that's your nylon strings. Now there are materials out there, nile gut and some of the other stuff, which actually I'm going to play around with on those mandolins, or not mandolins, those ukes I just built. Um, but you've got different materials out there, right? And then you start getting into steel strings, and steel strings are just that, they are steel. So again, with your high E, your B, um, most of the time, or often your G, and then sometimes your D, it'll be a plain wire, and that's what it looks like. It looks like a piece of bare wire, um, and then your A and your low E, and again sometimes your D. Um, Really about the D and the G. Um, it really depends, I guess, on the thickness of strings you're using, right? The particular set you're using. But for acoustic guitars, those strings will be wound, and they will be wound with a phosphor bronze material, right? So um, you got the wire, kind of like my fingers, the wire, right? And then it's this actually better illustration. This twine here is the winding, and you'll see the winding kind of like that, right? It'll be real tight wound. Um, Now for electric guitars, they tend to be wound with nickel, and the reason why is because phosphor bronze doesn't pick up real well on a magnetic pickup. Uh, but nickel is real conductive, for lack of a better term, picks up on those magnetic pickups real well. So, so you said, well, why are you talking to me about strings? Well, because with this Banjitar, when I redid it, right, all of the strings that I pulled off that thing were rusty, and I think it actually might have had, just a real light set of strings on it, and I mean, it could have even been baling wire. I really couldn't tell. Um, and might have even been mandolin or banjo strings, because the I did notice that the ends weren't ball ends; they were loop ends, which is a lot of times you'll see on banjo and mandolin strings. But anyway, so I decided to, because there's no real specific set of strings for a banjitar, a 6 string banjo. You'll find 5 string, you'll find 4 string banjo string sets real common. But for a 6 string banjo, really about the best you can do is get a set of guitar strings. Like I said, I went with acoustic because trying to I'm not trying to electrify it. I'm not trying to put a pickup on it. But and maybe I should go with a set of electric. And electric guitar strings tend to be a little bit lighter gauge. Um, and by gauge, it's really the thickness of the wire, right? The thickness of the string. I've seen .07 and .08, but you commonly start seeing it at .09, .10, .11, or .011, .012, up through usually about .017, .018. After that, once you start getting thicker than about .017, .018, then you start typically dealing with your wound strings, and you'll know they're wound because when you look at the package, you'll see a notation like .025W. I mean, it's not like a shoe size where 9.5 wide. It's .025 wound, meaning that it's either got a phosphor bronze or a nickel winding around it. So anyway, I went with just an extra light gauge or set of Martin acoustics, and extra light means different things to different manufacturers, right? The Dario might start their extra light with a .08. Another brand might start their extra light with a .010. Um, you know, and then on the top end, might be a .045 wound or a .054 wound. Um, so really, you kind of have to know the brand you're looking at to know what they mean by extra light, light, medium, and heavy gauge, right? Because again, it's not real standardized there. It means different things to different people, and then some of your brands too, as far as string material, right? Um, they have different coatings that they'll put on. They'll different ways like some strings are round wound, some have kind of a core and then a hexagonal type of a winding. So you really just kind of have to look at it. But as far as this hobby goes, like I've said before, you don't have to go out and try and hunt cigar box guitar strings. If you go to MGB or you go to CB Giddy, both of them, they sell their brand of strings. They're just regular guitar strings. And honestly, worth the money with both companies because you're going to get a set of strings that's a little bit cheaper than if you go with Martins or Didarios or Fenders or Elixirs or whatever. And for stuff most of us are building, we don't need fancy strings. Now, if you want to, by all means, by all means, go to Guitar Center, get you a set of Elixir Nano, whatever, you know, and knock yourself out. But I'm kind of wondering if um, if on this little Banjitar, if maybe just maybe I should have gone with maybe a little bit lighter gauge of string all the way around to see if that doesn't fix the problem. And I might try something here before long. But anyway, it's fun to play around with. I'm not happy right now, but that don't mean I won't get happy later. I've got me a Banjitar. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Um, I've got a couple other upcoming projects this weekend that I'm going to be working on. Soon some parts get in. I'll probably shoot a couple of videos detailing those projects. But anyway, don't forget to ring that bell, give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment or two, and we'll see you on the flip side.